G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to be taking a look at MakuluLinux Shift the Ubuntu variant. Now MakuluLinux Shift I think is been put in place to possibly replicate or what can you say, imitate some of the other ISOs that Jacques has had up for offer, but this way it's going to be offered in the one distro, and that is a one-click affair to change from one desktop style to another. So it's going to be a fully transformable operating system offering 8 desktop environments at the click of a button. And not only can users shift between layouts, but users can create their own unique layout as well, which we'll see in the video. Makulu also has plenty of tutorials on offer if you're looking for help in how to change your desktop environment or anything else as well. The Software Center in Makulu supports FlatHub and snaps, so you have many applications available. Also has a huge selection of pre-installed drivers from GPUs to USB devices to printers, and most of your plug-and-play devices. Many extensions have been included on Makulu, and that will accommodate the different layouts that can be transformed within the Makulu desktop. It also comes with the Makulu Constructor tool, an amazing tool that allows you to turn your current OS back into an ISO, and you can use that to install onto another computer. Jacques at Makulu was constantly starting new projects and also reviving old projects. He's had a few that he's kept on the back burner, and they may get put there for many number of reasons: design problems, stability issues, third-party developers, abandoned code, and so on. So what Jacques is saying here is MakuluLinux Shift was an idea to combine all our existing distros into one transformable OS to replace the existing distros. This was the goal of Shift, to shift from one distro to the next with a click of a button, hence the name Shift. So that sort of makes a little bit of sense, because then that sort of releases Jacques to sort of focus more on one distro rather than many distros. And what he's got going here is something I don't think I've seen before, because I don't think I've seen anybody use the Gnome framework to its advantages. I mean, I've seen a lot of people say you've got to add an extension for this and add an extension for that on Gnome, instead of being part of the desktop itself. But what we have going on here in MakuluLinux Shift is something very unique, because it's going to use all the components that are available for the Gnome desktop with one click and change the desktop completely. It'll change the icons, it'll change the wallpaper, it changes the wallpaper that's available for that desktop environment. I think also some of the wallpapers are the same across the board, but there's also different ones to suit that desktop itself. Also GTK themes, your menu, whether it's got a dock or a panel at the top, panel at the bottom, panel at the side, panel with a dock. I mean, there's so many options within the different desktops that he offers. They all seem to react the same way as if you were on the ISO, the individual ISO that you downloaded for that particular desktop. So I find that very interesting. And one of the reasons why I find this interesting is because I've been following the Ferran OS project for quite some time, and he did a similar thing with Cinnamon. He's now doing it with KDE Plasma, because Plasma has a lot of options that you can change up within the desktop itself. It's something I haven't seen done with Gnome and the Gnome framework. So what we have here is, please be aware that this is a beta build, stable enough to use as a daily driver, but still a beta build. Standout features: 8 unique desktop styles, one-click automated switch between layouts, 330 wallpapers, 92 icon sets, 20 cursors, 14 GTK themes, 41 extensions, huge driver support, and some software pre-installed and pre-configured out of the box. Code name's obviously Shift. We've got the build number there. It's a hybrid base. Its life cycle ends in 2025. It has a main repository for MakuluLinux and a second repository in Ubuntu. The desktop environment is obviously Gnome framework and the kernel is 5.11. And then you've got your architecture here and required disk space, RAM, your live username and so forth. So one thing that you may take note is when you first boot up your live USB into MakuluLinux, you will have a full screen video tutorial that runs automatically, and that is a tutorial of the MakuluLinux Shift desktop and runs you through the many things that can be achieved within the desktop itself. So that's probably a very handy tutorial to watch, and it does play automatically, so just be aware of that. So let's check out MakuluLinux Shift Ubuntu variant. So here we are in the live desktop of MakuluLinux Shift, the Ubuntu variant. I'm going to start the installer and let's get this installed. Firstly, it recommends that you set your mirror location. So let's check that off first. Set your download server location recommended. Let's continue that. And this looks like the Linux Mint software manager. That's handy. Software sources manager. I've already done this, but I'll do it again. We click on the top one first and we select the fastest mirror, which for me will be this one here. And then we click on this one here as well, the bottom one. And we also select the fastest mirror there as well. This is a very common thing to do when you're on Linux Mint. So there is a faster mirror now, which is this one here. I did have this one selected. This one did not come up before, but this Internode is my internet provider anyway. So let's click that one and let's click OK. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention is that when you first boot, it'll go directly into this tutorial here. Let's double click that. Sorry, not that one. So once you load up your USB and you get into your live desktop environment, this intro video will be the first thing that plays in full screen. It gives you an intro to MakuluLinux Shift. So that's the very first thing you'll see, just in case you're wondering what's going on once you hit the live environment. Now we've set our location for our mirrors, we can close that and that'll take us back to the installation options and we'll start installation. So American English for me, next. Australia Perth, yep. English Australian, yep. So I've got a 2 terabyte hard drive on this system and I've also got, well I thought I've got Elementary installed currently, but maybe it's installed on the 2 terabytes because it's asking to install alongside. That's a little bit strange. I'm going to install it onto here anyway and erase disk. Let's do that. Let's click next. This will be my Makulu desktop. This is my desktop computer. I never know what I'm doing with this computer, to be honest. I had Elementary installed. I'm sure it was on the small Plexter, but can't guarantee that. I don't want to log in automatically, and I'll use the same password for the administrator account and click next. There's our summary, and on the Plexter, all good. Is it going to make? It's going to create new GPT partition. 300. Yep, that'll be the boot. ext4 and create, it's creating a 8 gigabyte swap. All right, let's go with that. I've only got 4 gigs on this computer. I'd like to up that. I did buy some memory and it was the wrong one. So let's install now and off we go. And that is the installation complete for MakuluLinux. I shall save my video and we'll reboot into the freshly installed desktop. We are back on the desktop of MakuluLinux Shift Ubuntu variant. So this is the desktop after install. Internet is still connected since the live desktop, so that's always good. We have a welcome to MakuluLinux Setup Manager here. This is your first boot. We recommend you set up your desktop with your preferred settings. On the left is a menu. We highly recommend you go through each tab and set your preferred settings. We also highly recommend that you set up a daily, weekly snapshot of your system to secure it against unsafe packages and updates. Okay, so with the snapshot feature in place, you can roll back your system if anything goes wrong. And we wish you much joy with using MakuluLinux. We hope it is a wonderful experience. So network I've already done, but let's just have a look at that anyway. So click on the image. Okay, so yeah, I don't need to do that. I've already got it set up, but we could, you know, check off which Wi-Fi you want to use. Updates. Please make sure your internet connection is connected before proceeding. It is time for us to make sure your system is up to date. Please run the update manager below by clicking on Updates image. So click on the image. Once you are done with this process, you can continue to the next step. So if you're offline, you can simply skip this step. So let's do that. Let's click that image. And there we have some updates that have come through. So let's install now. And that is the updates complete. Go to the next step for drivers. So now that your internet is connected, you have updated your system. It's time to make sure your drivers are set up correctly. Click on the driver image below to set up your device drivers. That's not doing anything. So, okay, so that's gone to the next step. So I have to think that I don't have any drivers to set up because this is a AMD system. There's no NVIDIA on here. And I think it's got an AMD Verde graphics card. So that's why, that's probably why it's not doing anything. Be handy if it actually said that there's no proprietary drivers installed, just so there's no confusion. Although if you click on that and click next, it's going to take you to the next tab, which is security. So you can click on the image here. It'll take you to your firewall, and all you need to do is click this, toggle this on here, and your firewall is up and running. That's done. And then we can click backup. So we can do snapshots. Let's just click on that and see what opens up anyway. It's not opening, so I'm not sure what's going on there. So once it's open, you'll be asked for a snapshot type. If you're unsure, click rsync. Let's have a look in the menu for backup. So it's time shift that he's using. For some reason, it's not opening up clicking that image. I don't know why. So there's rsync there. So that's what it should be opening. Let's just close that and try again. Yeah, it's not working for some reason. We're on real hardware as well, so we're not on VirtualBox. And if you go next, it'll take you probably to language. So a box will pop up, you select your language. Well, mine should be already set anyway. Install the English language pack. I would have thought, are we supposed to do that? I don't know. It's already installed the newest version. Okay. Yes, I would have thought that English was selected during install, but I just thought I'd click it and see what happened anyway. And also we're making sure that the link works. And there we go. And there's the formats. And we can close that. Next, and donate before exit. So if you are a fan of MakuluLinux, click on the donate button and send Makulu a little bit of financial support. So now we are finished with the setup wizard and we're on the desktop. So the one thing that I've come to realize with MakuluLinux is right click is your best friend. Plenty of options on right click. You've got desktop manager, theme manager, change desktop background, desktop clock, display settings, but you'll also find all of these, I think, in the desktop manager, like so. And also you got your theme manager, which is for accent colors and your mouse selection. So let's have a look at the accent colors. So currently it's orange. I don't mind a bit of blue. I don't know what the blue is like. Looks a bit like a turquoise color. I might even change my mouse, I think. I might change it to a standard type mouse. Oh, no, I want the other way. That's better. I like a bit of a dark blue. I don't know whether he's got dark blue. Oh, yeah. But that's a dark. So that adds dark. Yeah, I'm happy with the rest of it being dark anyway. Also, you've got click here to manage special effects. So let's have a look at that. We've detected that special effects is currently not running on your system. Turn on special effects, hit the button below. This will enable wobbly windows, magic lamp and transparent windows. So let's try the special effects. No wobbly windows happening there. So it's currently running. I don't know whether we need to log out and log back in, but definitely there's no wobbly windows happening right now. Just have a quick look through and see what's installed here, and you can pause this if you wish and you can check out what's installed. It's got Wallpapers, which is a Linux Mint application for connecting to other computers on your home network. Interesting, he's got Google Chrome by default out of the box. No Office suite, so it gives you a choice of downloading your own Office suite and selecting the one that you would like to have. And it's got a blue dot there, you'll see, and it's also got new next to Simple Screen Recorder because I've only just installed that. So that's the system applications. He's also got tweaks here. Let's check out tweaks. Icons are flattery blue. Let's check that out. Okay. And there's many to choose from. Well, let's just quickly go through them. You've got all these here. You've also got shell theme, which is transparent, and these other ones included as well. Cursor options there. And the applications currently set on Makulu Dark. And he has some pretty cool effects happening in the title bar buttons here, which is pretty cool. Now we have a extension button here that takes you to the extensions. So we've got Compiz effects here as well within the extensions. I don't know, so we can adjust things there. Right. I'm not sure whether it's because I've got that AMD card, graphics card in here, that's not working, or I need to log out. I'm not really sure. But you've got a whole heap of options here to manage your extensions and the settings for the extensions. So it's been made as a shortcut here to quickly access all of those. Here we have a panel icon for your shortcuts and application shortcuts as well. So that's pretty handy for a quick access if you want to know what your shortcuts are. And then we got a settings button here. It takes you to your desktop manager, or you can right click to your desktop manager or you can go and search for your desktop manager in the menu. So you can do that. We also have a software center as well, which is the About Software's the Gnome Software Center. Go to Software and Updates. Google Stable is in there. MakuluLinux Online, PPAs. We could do a search for Telegram. I know that's normally a Flatpak. We'll see if there's any Flatpak support in here. It's not finding anything. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that must have just taken a while. Where is that from? Oh, that's from FlatHub. Okay, so there is FlatHub support in here. Maybe Telegram just took a while to start up, so looking for patience here. Telegram desktop from FlatHub. And you got your updates there as well. Software is up to date. So let's get to the most important thing. First of all, we have a shortcut on the desktop to tutorials, and it gives you a tutorial on changing layouts, changing themes, changing wallpapers, compiling an ISO, modifying your clock, installing software, moving panel and docks, and updating the system. So let's have a look at the desktop manager. Now the desktop clock has many options. We can make it black or white. So let's make it black, or let's make it white. We can enable or disable the clock. We can set to 24-hour, which should stay the same because it's morning. We can set the clock on the left-hand side, or we can set it on the right-hand side. And then you've got quotes. Quotes can be updated hourly or daily. You can refresh the clock if you've made some changes. And you've got some additional options. I think system information is there. The weather is not there. The news feeder is, there's news, and the quotations are there as well. So you can turn them off. The weather report, let's turn that on. Now, weather settings, we need to get the code. So what we're going to do is get a code. And we're going to use, obviously, Google Chrome, which is the default here. And we're going to search for our location. I'm in Perth, Australia. Oops, what happened there? Perth, Western Australia, that's where I am. And what we need is this code up here. It's either, well, this one here is the same as this one, so that's the code we need. So let's copy that. Let's enter code and paste it into there and enter that. All done. And if you're not sure, you can reset the weather here. So if you need it for a second time, you can reset it. And I'll go Celsius on that. And refresh the clock, I think. It's not showing any weather anyway. And it tells you here to copy that number there. Forgot to mention that. Yes, it's not showing the weather at the moment. So that's how you do that. That might be just my computer. Desktop icons, you can turn off your home, your network, your trash. So home you can turn off, network you can turn off, or my computer you can turn off. Mounted volumes you can turn off, network you can turn off, and the trash bin. Or you can turn them all back on and have them all on the desktop, like so. So that is the desktop clock options. Now the panel dock options, in this scenario we can move it to the top or we can leave it on the bottom. So we can go top or we can leave it on the bottom. Now that just depends on which desktop layout you're running at the time. You can IntelliHide the panel and the dock. You can also get to Theme Manager from here. You can also go to your Wallpaper Manager from here and select Wallpaper. And Makulu always has some really, really nice wallpapers. Right click on that and close. We have to go back to our desktop manager. We've got tutorials, constructor tool, important links. So there's links there that if you ever need to, you can click on the links. And then we got settings. So we've got video tutorial. So let's continue that. So then you've got your layout backup, or you can change the layout to suit the way you want it. So you could probably choose any one of these desktop layouts, and then you can tweak it to your own liking, and then you can update it here, or you can restore it back to default. So we'll get to that. So since we're on simple, we'll go along the bottom and change our layouts. Let's try Unity. I've clicked that already. It will change. Transforming your desktop, please be patient. And there is the change to the desktop. Now we have a Unity style desktop layout. Still got everything along the top panel there. Oh, now we have the magic lamp working, and probably wobbly windows as well. So is that, I'm not sure if that is, that's interesting. Is that according to which desktop you're running, is it? Let's go back to simple. Okay, so it is dependent upon which desktop layout you are running. All right, so we have the Unity layout up and running. We've got options here for the menu manager here. And yes, we have magic lamp and wobbly windows. Cool. Clicking this one here gives us a full screen menu. And if we hit the Windows or the super key, gives us the same thing. Now, interesting, if we keep hitting the super key, you get the full screen menu, iconified menu. If you hit it again, you get your activities overview, automatically changing wallpapers as well. So tap the super key once, there's your full screen menu. Tap it again and there's your activities overview. All right, let's check out the Gnome layout. Okay, so this is the Gnome layout, a very clean looking desktop. So there we have the full screen menu, iconified menu. If we hit the super key, we get the full screen menu, and that's all we get. So there doesn't seem to be an activities overview. And with this panel here, you'll always have a show desktop down there as well. So if we hit the show desktop there, it all disappears. So we only have a full screen menu. We don't have an activities overview. I don't know if there's a shortcut to that anywhere. It doesn't appear to be. So right click on the desktop again, desktop manager. Let's go to Plasma. Now we don't have any wobbly windows in Plasma. I would have thought we had wobbly windows in Plasma. And that's the menu there for Plasma. Hit the super key, that's your menu. And as you'll find that all the icons will change according to the desktop layout as well. So that's those icons look a little bit big there. And look a little bit out of whack, those ones. Didn't really check out Gnome, whether, check the hand. So it changes cursors, it changes the icons, window manager as well sometimes, so that there's no wobbly windows there. And there you got the icons, the yellow icons there. Now I don't know whether the theme manager changes the accent colors, probably does. So yeah, if you want to change colors, you've got to change the colors down here according to the desktop you're on. I don't know if that was yellow before. I had dark variant, didn't I? Theme manager had the dark variant going on, but that changes when you change layouts. So there's definitely no wobbly windows on here or plasma. Then we'll go to dash. So this is the dash desktop. And as you can see, the icons have changed color according to the desktop. No wobbly windows or magic lamp here, but there are still some effects. So he's got different effects running on different desktops by the looks of it. So you'll probably find that. And the super key gives you the menu, and it's at the bottom left-hand side of the screen. And you've got your categories on the far right. I prefer them on the left. If we right-click and hit Arc Menu Settings, you should be able to change that. Menu Layout, Whisker Menu Style, so you can click on the tweaks for the menu, and flip layout horizontally. I think it may be that one. Let's try that. And yes, the categories are now on the left. Let's go back to Desktop Manager. Let's go to Core. This is the core desktop. We have a menu up top. Super key also has the menu working there as well. And we also have this pie chart or pie menu. So if we go to System Tools, then that gives you another option there. Whatever's in the menu tells you what you're hovering over in the center there. Desktop Manager, Bleach Bit, Administration, System Tools, Users and Group, Date and Time. So you can use that menu there. There should be one that takes you back. Where is it? Software. So if you click the center, it'll take you back. Okay. You've also got a full screen menu here as well. Escape that. There's no wobbly windows or magic lamp or anything. Oh, yes, a magic lamp. Okay, fair enough. No wobbly windows. So yes, it is. They're there. They're just changed per desktop layout. So I'm just trying to get used to that. So you can also click on here and it minimizes and restores. So if we have a few windows open here and then click this one here, we don't have an overview, do we? Thought I'd seen something come up before. On the menu here in Core, we have Activities Overview. So you've got that option there. You've got your full screen menu as well here, and the pie menu as well. Then we go back to Desktop Manager and change to Flash. This is the Flash layout. This menu here, which also is operated by the Super Windows key. And then we have a different icon set as well. And you can see that there's many different icon sets, not only just to suit the desktop layouts, but to suit probably your own taste. You can make changes to that. We have, that's the desktop manager there. Not sure if we have no wobbly windows on Flash, but we do have some things. Yep, we've got magic lamp going in and out. Got a nice little fading out panel down the bottom here as well on Flash. It's a nice little fade out to transparency there with a snowy type, with a white snowy effect. It looks quite nice. That also looks like the whisker menu as well, the whisker menu type layout on this menu here. And last but not least, we have Windows. And Windows obviously is going to be inspired by like a Windows type setup. And we have effects there, but no magic lamp or anything, and no wobbly windows. And we have obviously a cinnamon style menu here with the usual cinnamon shortcuts on the side here. And you should also be able to make some tweaks to that if you wish. In general menu layout, the Mint menu style, and click on that, and you can make some adjustments there as well. So that should be an option for most of the menus in every layout here. So we have a different icon set again here as well. And what you're going to notice is across the board here, actually that's super key, Windows key, opens and closes the menu. And what you're going to notice here is, besides the actual desktop layouts being different, you're going to have a very familiar look of these options in the panels, whether they're up the top, down the bottom. They will always be the same calendar and a lot of the same options here. So they're all familiar across the layouts. So you know how to shut down your system and all that. We do have, where was it? Desktop Manager. Yes, you're going to have panel dock options in the settings here. So you can put that panel up the top, or you can put the panel down the bottom. So it's got that options on most of the layouts. Now what you'll find in the layouts, right click, change desktop background, select wallpaper. You'll find that the wallpaper options are different for every layout. So you might have these options here, but once you change to another layout, the options of wallpapers will be different. And there's plenty of them. Right click and close. So let's work our way back. Let's go back to Flash. Now if we go to change desktop background, select wallpaper. Now you might have some generic ones there that might be the same, but you also got some different style to suit this desktop layout. I think I've seen a couple the same in Windows, so they may share some wallpapers, I believe, but also there will be a lot to suit the environment of the layout itself, as you can see. Let's go back to Core and change desktop background, select wallpaper, and as you can see these wallpapers are different again to suit the core layout. I think I've seen that in a few of them, so there might be some shared ones across the layouts for sure, but there are a lot of different ones to suit the layout itself. Back to Dash, and I think you'll find if you've made any any changes to the layouts, once you go back, unless you've saved them, and we'll get to that, it'll go back to the defaults of the icons and the accent colors and so forth. So let's have a look at the desktop backgrounds in Flash. So we'll go back to Plasma. There's no doubt that we have different backgrounds when we do change to the different layouts. And there seems to be some different backgrounds there, for sure. And some familiar ones as well. So definitely the backgrounds, there's added backgrounds for that layout, and there's also shared ones amongst all the layouts. There's no doubt about that. Back to Gnome. Select wallpaper in Gnome. Yes, there is a lot of wallpapers. Too many to go through. So we're back to the Unity desktop layout. And change desktop background and select wallpaper on Unity. And then back to the original simple desktop layout. And we've done full circle with the layouts, and we're back to the simple desktop. Let's have a look at the desktop backgrounds in here. So yes, there is some slight variations of the wallpaper, and there's some familiar ones across the board. Now what we want to look at here is, now I don't know why Variety is changing wallpaper. I don't know if that was part of the desktop layout or not. Preferences, change wallpaper every 5 minutes. So now what we want to do here is we can change. Now you might like the simple desktop layout, but you may want a different menu. Say for example, we can right click, Arc Menu Settings, Menu Layout, and we can choose our menu. Say for example, so we've got traditional, modern, traditional. So Mint menu is under the traditional, so we can choose that and apply. And now we have the Mint menu. Now you might want to turn off, if we go to the desktop clock, we might want to go to desktop icons and turn off all the icons like so. We might want to delete, move to trash, move to trash, move to trash. We might want the panel up the top. Now we've got our desktop icons back again. Off, 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 off and off. Off, okay. Desktop clock, you might want to disable the desktop clock. Now what we can do is we're on the simple layout, so we go to settings, we continue that, and we can update the layout, I believe. So let's try that. Update layout. Your simple has been updated. So let's just say we go, let's close that. And we go back to Windows. So let's remember how this desktop is. No desktop icons, no clock, no conky. We've got the Mint menu. Well, I thought we had the Mint menu. Maybe that changed. Menu layout, traditional Mint menu. Apply that. Okay, so we're going to change back to Windows. So here we are back on the Windows desktop. And then what we shall do is go back to simple and see if our changes are still in effect. So there is our Mint menu, no desktop icons, no conky, and there's our changes still in effect from when we changed it before and we updated the layout. So you could probably do the same thing with tweaks. If you went to tweaks and you changed your appearance in any way, maybe the icons, you wanted a different set of icons, say flattery blue maybe, and you also went to the theme manager and set a dark variant with the blue as well, like so. And then we can go to desktop manager, settings, continue, and update layout. Let's go to Unity. Okay, so we're going to change back to simple, and as you can see, we're still on the dark variant with the blue accents and the blue icons. Still got the Mint menu, so all those changes have been updated. And as you can see, you can tweak the desktop to your own liking. If we was to go back to the settings and continue, and you want the original simple layout back, you can just click restore and that will restore the simple layout. So you can do that with any of the layouts. So I suppose you could pin your favorites along the panel. You could do all those sorts of things. Although the conky clock's back, I just realized. And the right click also has display settings, search files and folders, and the other usual things you'll find as well. Create new document. So that is the desktop layouts for MakuluLinux. Okay, so let's have a look at HTOP on MakuluLinux. And we are using 1.43 gigs, and the CPUs are about 20% there on average. And what I might do is I might take a HTOP screenshot on a first boot, because we're obviously running, I'm recording, so that does take up a fair bit. And also there's a lot happening under the hood on this distro. So that will definitely drive up the memory usage. So I've got two screenshots here on first boot, on two different first boots. So here we had 841. That took me a while to go through the menu, open up screenshot, and then take a screenshot. By the time I did all that, the memory increased. So I put the screenshot as a shortcut on the desktop and quickly took another screenshot, and we had 696. And it was actually on first boot 675. So that's not too bad. It's once you start opening up Google Chrome and all that, that's when it starts increasing. But that's a fairly acceptable usage for Gnome desktop anyway, considering what Makulu has going on here. But I have to say the desktop itself is very snappy indeed. It's hard to believe you're on Gnome considering how snappy this desktop is. Fullscreen Gestures. Now you can enable and disable gestures here. You can configure gestures here. So let's take a look at that. I'm very sure that gestures are running, although I might have to check that out. Or maybe it's not. Okay, so let's enable gestures. Enable. Yes, maybe it's not set to automatically start. So let's have a look. What have we got? Preferences here. Auto start easy stroke. So yes, it's not set to auto start yet. That's why it wasn't running, because I have shut down since the last part of the video. So what we're going to look at here is these gestures here. Now, if we have a look at terminal, let's have a look at that. And that'll open terminal. Now, oops, I closed the wrong one. Now, what you'll find is if you have a look at the strokes here, whatever starts in blue is your first stroke. So you'd be starting from here and then going down here and over to there. So it starts in blue and ends in green. So you see there, you can close a tab by slashing like so. Leaf pad, you can just do L and that opens leaf pad. Synaptic Package Manager is a P. Oops. Actually, I think it starts from here and goes down and back up, is it? Something like that? I don't know. Oh, there we go. Let's try that again. So you got to watch the stroke here. It starts there, it probably goes down and then back up. Like so. So there we go. And there's your package manager. Google Chrome. If you want to open Google Chrome, you've got to start here and go in a clockwise direction, like so. And Google Chrome opens. So I find these very handy. So if we open Google Chrome again, and if we have a look at some of these ones here, we've got, so you can go top, bottom. So you start from the bottom to go to the top, and the bottom, and start from the top to go to the bottom. So on here you've got back. So starting from there, going that way will take you back, and starting from there and that way will take you forward. So if we was to visit a website here, my computer shop there, And that's to say I want to go back. If I swipe that way, like so, it'll go back. And if I swipe that way, it'll go forward, like so. Now, I'm not sure whether you can do it outside of that. Go back. No, you got to do it within the browser, so it doesn't matter where you do it. Go forward or go back. I don't know, doesn't seem to be going back. Maybe I'm not doing it correctly. Oh, maybe I'm not doing it long enough, maybe. So that went back. Go forward or go back. Seems to work better in that space there, I think. Forward, back, forward, back. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably messing around inside the existing text. That's probably what that was. And then you got your software center. So these are very handy gestures, especially if you're on a tablet or a laptop and you got using a pen or anything like that. These strokes would come in very handy, and you can add your own action. Add action, Nemo. Add a command, Nemo. Do we need to enter? Maybe I needed to enter. And then record stroke. Okay. And there we go. So maybe you need to enter when you do that. That's probably what I did wrong. So that's how you add full screen gestures. So I just wanted to have one more quick look at the software center, because we didn't I didn't see any snaps in there when I checked it out earlier in the video. So just wanted to see if there are snaps. I didn't look at these ones, Telegram. See, that's Snapcraft. Let's try another search. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. Zoom. That one there is Snap. Okay, so there's a proper Snap Zoom client. There's probably another Zoom. This is what happens with this software center. There's the Flat Hub. 5.8.3.145, 583, and 583.145 on the Flat Hub. So we've confirmed that there are snaps and flat hubs installed. Some of these things do take quite a while to populate. And one more thing, I suppose, an advantage would be if we go into the menu and look for a application here. Say simple screen recorder, for example, which I've been using a lot of. Just right click and add to favorites, and has been added to your favorites. I should probably try something else as well, Nomax. Let's add that to favorites, and there we go, it's added to favorites. Now that's another thing that's going to be very familiar and consistent across the board, I'd have to think, unless you're using maybe the Gnome desktop. I think that may not have a panel that you can add favorites to. Not sure about that one, but definitely if you're using panels, if you're using a desktop layout with panels, that add to favorites would be pretty much consistent across the board, that's for sure. So that was MakuluLinux Shift, the Ubuntu variant. Quite a long video, that one. Plenty to look at in Makulu, plenty to see, plenty to play with, plenty of things to just explore really in the MakuluLinux desktop. I was gonna make this video into some parts, but I thought probably best to just put some timestamps and people can jump to the positions that they want to look at. I think the other thing is I spent a bit of time on the wallpapers in each layout. The reason I did that, and I think I put a if you want to skip sign down below, because I thought it was relevant just in case people wanted to slow that video down to see exactly what wallpapers are in there, because I did scroll through them pretty quickly, but I was just trying to determine, and also for you to come along for the ride to see what wallpapers were relevant to each desktop. And some wallpapers I think were shared across the board with a lot of the layouts. Yeah, it's hard to determine, but definitely I've seen some repeats of wallpapers across the board, definitely. Just some more advice: don't record when you're changing layouts. I did crash quite a few times in changing layouts, and I'd have to think the changing of the layouts is quite complex. because I'm recording, and that recording is sending that information to a location. So because there's a lot of things going on, I think that's what crashed it a few times, because I was pushing the limits there, I think. I thought there was something to start with terribly wrong, but it turns out that if I wasn't recording, not one crash. It's definitely probably the recording of the desktop changing is what caused those issues. So I did some layout changes, and that was looking at the wallpapers, and but in that instance, I was looking at some certain things on the layout, and then I was stopping the recording, and then I was changing to the other one. I think that's when I was doing the wallpapers, and that's when I realized that Makulu wasn't crashing at all, changing layouts. It was just when I was recording. So just a bit of advice there, that if you're doing that, you may come across that. I did push it quite a fair bit, so but it was the layout changing I wanted to record. But yeah, there's definitely no fault at all for Makulu on that one. It was definitely me just trying to get all that layout changing on screen if I could. Yeah, there's definitely some complexities there involved within the desktop environments and the folders and all that. So you are changing icons and all that sort of thing. Jacques at Makulu has definitely nailed it if he's trying to maintain one distro and try to get all those different layouts of different ISOs on the one distro. If that's his goal, he's definitely nailed it, because they really do look almost, I'd have to think, identical actually to the other ISOs that he's got. So he's done a really good job there, and that would have been extremely time consuming to do that. So I think he's doing some great work there. And to use the Gnome desktop, you haven't seen many people do that. And I was pretty impressed with the way Jacques has presented the MakuluLinux Shift variant. He did say that he was going to bring some new and exciting things. And this would have been the last thing that I would have expected from Jacques, actually. But it makes sense that he does that if he wants to make maintaining a distro or ISOs or distros a lot easier and put them all into one. Makes a lot of sense. So anyway, that was MakuluLinux Shift Ubuntu variant. So sorry for the long video. There was many things to look at and it couldn't be helped. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting and informative. And thanks for watching.